Okay, so how many of you get butterflies even thinking about public speaking?
Oh, I know, right?
It's like a universal fear. But what if we could turn that fear into a superpower?
Into his superpower, yeah.
And today we're going to try to do just that
I like it.
by diving deep into Dale Carnegie's The Quick and Easy Way to Effective Speaking.
Ooh, a classic.
Now, this book, it's not about becoming some perfectly polished speaker. It's about finding your own authentic voice and sharing it confidently.
Yeah, that's what's so great about Carnegie. He was all about connecting with the audience, on a human level.
Yes, I love that. It's not about gimmicks or tricks, but he shares all these stories about people transforming into powerful speakers. It almost sounds too good to be true.
Oh, but it's not. I mean, take Mario Lazo, for instance.
Mario Lazo.
He was a lawyer who was terrified of public speaking.
Oh, can you imagine?
And picture this. He had to deliver a major speech at the Havana Country Club. And he was petrified.
Oh, I'd be sweating bullets.
Right. But he used one of Carnegie's techniques. And in 3 weeks, just 3 weeks, he went from zero to silver-tongued orator.
3 weeks.
That's all it took.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Gives me hope. So what was this technique that he used?
He used what Carnegie called organized thinking.
Organized thinking. Oh.
Yeah, it's all about mapping out your speech so that your points connect logically.
So how does our listener actually do that?
Well, Carnegie breaks it down into really simple steps.
Okay.
The first thing you do is you select your topic and your central point, and ideally it's something you're really passionate about.
Okay. Something you care about.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
Then you gather all your supporting materials.
Okay.
Your facts, your stories, examples, that sort of thing.
Like building a house.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a solid foundation and then strong supporting beams, and then everything falls into place.
That's a perfect analogy. And that structure really gives you confidence because you know where you're going and how to get there.
And you don't have to memorize every single word.
No. In fact, that can make you more nervous.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Because memorization has always been my downfall.
Yeah, see.
So it's more about having a clear framework and then just speaking more naturally.
That's it.
Okay.
And, Carnegie emphasizes that everyone feels fear.
Even the most experienced speakers.
Everyone. They get those pre-speech jitters. But it's about learning how to channel that energy.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we channel the energy? Like, let's say you're in the audience right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Your heart is pounding.
Uh-huh.
You're sweating. And you have to give a presentation in an hour.
An hour.
What's the first step?
First step. Ditch the idea of being perfect.
Yeah.
That'll set you up for disaster.
Okay, ditch perfection.
Got it. Instead, just focus on connecting with your audience.
Okay, connect with the audience.
They don't want a flawless performance. They want to hear what you have to say.
But we do have to prepare, right?
Of course, preparation is key.
We can't just wing it.
But you have to prepare in a way that builds your confidence, not your anxiety.
So find that sweet spot between structure and authenticity.
You got it.
Okay.
And that actually brings us to one of Carnegie's most powerful points.
Yeah.
Ditch the script.
Wait, ditch the script? Really?
Yes.
But what about forgetting what I want to say?
He doesn't mean go in completely unprepared.
Okay.
But instead of memorizing the speech word for word, focus on just really understanding your material.
Okay, so really know your stuff.
Know your stuff, and then speak from the heart. Speak naturally in your own voice.
That makes a lot more sense because if you're just, regurgitating lines, you can't connect with the audience. You can't adapt to the moment.
Exactly. It's like having a genuine conversation while reading from a teleprompter. It just doesn't work.
So you're saying that embracing those imperfections can actually make us more engaging?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because who wants to listen to a robot?
Right? That's true.
People connect with authenticity.
So you're making me rethink my whole approach to public speaking because I've always focused on being perfect.
Oh, I see.
I've probably missed opportunities to connect with my audience.
Well, think about it this way. When you're listening to a speaker, what draws you in? Is it their perfectly polished delivery? Or is it their passion, their stories, their genuine desire to share something meaningful?
Yeah, you're right. It's always the speakers who are really enthusiastic and passionate about their topic that capture my attention.
There you go. And that's what Carnegie's getting at. Effective speaking is about connecting with your audience, sharing something you truly care about, and doing it in a way that feels authentic to you.
Okay, this is definitely a mindset shift for me. So let's say you've ditched the script, you're feeling confident in your material, you're ready to connect with the audience. Now what? How do you make your speech captivating?
Well, first and foremost, choose a topic you genuinely care about.
Okay, so something you're passionate about.
Yeah, your passion will be contagious,
Because nobody wants to listen to someone drone on about something they find boring.
No, exactly.
But what if you're stuck with a topic that's not exactly your passion?
Even if you're not head over heels in love with the topic, find an angle that interests you.
Okay, find an angle.
Yeah.
So find that spark.
Yes, exactly.
Reframe your perspective and find a way to connect with the material.
Exactly.
Okay.
And once you've got that spark, then it's all about fanning the flames,
Okay.
Carnegie talks about the importance of vivid language,
Hmm.
relatable examples, painting a picture in the listener's mind.
Make it come alive.
Bring your speech to life.
Okay.
And he has this great anecdote about John Gunther.
John Gunther.
Yeah, the best-selling author.
Okay.
He did all this research for his articles on mental hospitals, but he knew he couldn't just dump all this information on his readers.
Right, too much information.
So he carefully selected the most impactful points and wove them into this compelling narrative.
So get to the heart of the matter. Choose those key details that really resonate.
Exactly. And present them in a way that's both informative and engaging.
Yeah, it's all starting to come together. So let's bring it back to our listener. How do I actually connect with my audience? Because that's where the real magic happens, right?
Absolutely. That's where Carnegie's wisdom truly shines.
Okay, tell me more.
He had such insightful advice on that topic. But you know what? Maybe we should save that for the next part of our deep dive, because this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, so we talked about ditching the script, finding our authentic voice, choosing a topic that sparks our enthusiasm, but now let's get to the heart of it. Connecting with our audience. What did Carnegie have to say about making that connection?
One of the first things he emphasizes is be yourself. Don't try to imitate some famous speaker or put on a persona that's not you.
Oh yeah, that's tempting though.
I know, right?
We see all those speakers with that effortless charisma.
I know.
But if we try to be someone we're not, wouldn't we just be more self-conscious?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's like wearing a suit that doesn't fit. You're going to feel uncomfortable and awkward, and it's going to show.
So how do we embrace our unique style while still, incorporating those best practices of effective speaking? Because let's be honest, some of us might need a little guidance in the style department.
Well, think about the speakers that you admire. Right?
Okay, yeah.
What are some of the qualities that you see in them?
Okay.
Is it their confidence? Is it their humor? Is it their ability to connect with the audience?
Yeah.
Those are all things that you can cultivate within your own style.
Okay, so not copying their persona, but identifying the qualities that we admire and finding a way to express those authentically.
Exactly.
But what if you struggle with confidence? How do you project that self-assurance when you're standing up in front of people?
Well, Carnegie had a great technique for that, too. He called it creative self-confidence.
Creative self-confidence. I like that.
It's all about shifting your focus from yourself to your message and your audience.
Okay, so how do you actually put that into practice? Because that sounds kind of abstract.
It really is about believing in the value of what you have to share. Don't worry about how you look or what people might think of you. Think about the impact you want to make on your audience.
So instead of thinking, I'm so nervous, you think, I have something important to say.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And that shift in focus can make a world of difference.
So it allows you to tap into that inner confidence that comes from knowing you're offering something valuable.
Yes.
But what about those of us who, we freeze up when all eyes are on us?
I know.
How do we make that connection with the audience?
Carnegie had some brilliant advice for that as well. He talked about the importance of speaking to your audience, not at them.
Okay, what does that actually look like in practice?
Imagine you're having a conversation with a friend.
Okay.
You make eye contact.
Okay.
You listen attentively. You respond to what they're saying. You want to try to create that same connection with your audience.
So treat the audience like individuals, not just a faceless mass that you're talking at.
Exactly.
But how do you do that when you're facing a room full of people?
Well, one technique Carnegie suggests is to just pick out a few friendly faces in the audience.
Oh, okay.
And focus on speaking directly to them.
I've never thought of it that way. So you're having a series of one-on-one conversations.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those moments when you inevitably stumble over your words?
I know.
Or lose your train of thought?
Oh, yeah.
How do you handle those gracefully without totally losing your composure?
Well, Carnegie actually encouraged embracing those moments.
Really?
He really did. He believed that a little vulnerability can make you more relatable and endearing.
So it's not about trying to be perfect and hiding our flaws.
Yes.
It's about embracing those as part of what makes us unique.
Exactly.
Okay, so like if you stumble over a word, just laugh it off.
Exactly. If you lose your train of thought, just take a deep breath, pause for a moment, and then pick up where you left off.
Be comfortable with those imperfections.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And he actually shared an anecdote about a speaker who took this idea to a whole new level.
Oh, tell me, I love a good anecdote.
This speaker was a bank officer. He was so nervous about his presentation that he brought a glass of water on stage with him.
Oh, I've been there.
But as he was reaching for the glass, his hand was trembling so much that he spilled water all over himself.
Oh, no.
It was a disaster. But instead of panicking, he just looked at the audience and said, "Well, folks, I guess I was a little more nervous than I thought."
We owned it.
He owned it. And you know what? The audience loved it. They burst into laughter, and the tension in the room immediately dissipated.
Oh, that's amazing. It just goes to show that sometimes our greatest fears can turn into our greatest strengths.
Exactly.
We just have to handle them with grace and a little humor.
Exactly. And that highlights another important point that Carnegie made: the power of humor.
Okay, yeah, humor.
He believed that humor was an invaluable tool for connecting with audiences.
But I think a lot of people struggle with incorporating humor. It's like you don't want to force it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
It has to be natural and authentic.
Right.
One of the ways he recommended was to just look for the humor in everyday situations.
Okay.
He said, life is full of funny incidents. If you are alert, you will see them every day.
Keep your eyes open for those funny little moments and weave them into your presentation.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's about those subtle ways to inject a little levity without turning it into a comedy show.
Exactly. Remember, the goal is to connect with your audience, not to become the next Jerry Seinfeld.
So we've talked about being ourselves, connecting with our audience, embracing those little imperfections, incorporating humor. Are there any other key points we should touch on before we wrap up this part of our deep dive?
Well, there's one more piece of advice from Carnegie that I think is crucial for anyone who wants to be a confident and effective speaker.
Mm-hmm.
He said, believe in yourself and in what you have to say.
Okay, so it all comes back to that sense of self-belief.
It does.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe in yourself and your message, why should anyone else?
Okay, that's a good point. But how do you cultivate that belief? Especially if you struggle with self-doubt.
Well, one of the things he recommended was to focus on your strengths.
Okay.
What are you good at? What are you passionate about? What unique experiences do you bring to the table?
Identify those qualities that make us unique and valuable.
Exactly. And then put yourself out there, share your voice, and let your confidence shine through.
Okay, I love that message.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people might be thinking, okay, that sounds great in theory, but what about the practical stuff? How do I structure my speech? How do I handle Q&A?
Oh, you're right. Those are important elements. And Carnegie had a lot of insights on those as well. Maybe we should save that for the last part of our deep dive.
I think that's a great idea. Let's explore those finer details that can really elevate a speech.
I agree.
Because those little adjustments can make a huge difference.
Huge difference.
And I'm curious to explore his thoughts on how to handle, like, unexpected moments,
Oh, yeah.
like technical glitches or those tough questions.
Yep.
Those moments can really test our speaking skills.
They really do.
So I'm eager to hear what he had to say about navigating those challenges, but we'll have to save that for our final act. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground, from finding our authentic voice to connecting with our audience. But let's zoom in on those finer details, the finishing touches that can really elevate your public speaking game. Where do we even begin with that?
One area Carnegie really dives into is what he calls platform presence, how you command the stage. And it starts with a simple but powerful principle: believing in yourself and what you have to say.
Okay, we've talked about self-confidence, but how does that translate into actual physical presence? What do you do with your hands? How do you stand? Because I think a lot of people feel awkward just standing there.
It's funny you should mention that. Carnegie tells this story about a speaker he observed, and this guy just did not know what to do with his hands.
Oh, I've seen those speakers.
He kept shoving them in his pockets, pulling them out, clasping them behind his back. It was so distracting.
So what's the solution? What do we do with these things?
Well, Carnegie's advice is to let your hands be natural extensions of your enthusiasm.
Okay.
Use them to emphasize points,
Okay, so not like I'm doing right now.
No, not like that.
Okay.
Think of it more as painting pictures in the air, expressing emotion.
Yeah.
Just let them flow naturally.
So don't overthink it.
Exactly.
Okay.
What about posture? Any tips on that front?
Yeah.
Stand tall,
Okay.
shoulders back, head held high, not in a stiff military way, but with a sense of, relaxed confidence,
Okay, so relaxed confidence.
like an athlete ready to perform.
Yeah, ready to deliver your message with impact.
Exactly.
Okay. But not every speaking situation is going to be a formal presentation on a stage.
Right.
What about more casual settings,
Sure.
like meetings or even just conversations with
Oh,
friends?
absolutely. The principles are the same,
Yeah.
Whether you're addressing a boardroom or chatting with colleagues, the key is to be present, engaged, and authentic.
So it's not like we become a different person.
No, no.
It's bringing those same principles, the clarity, the enthusiasm to every interaction.
Exactly. And Carnegie reminds us that even those small conversations are opportunities to practice.
Oh, so it's like a constant training ground.
Yes, exactly.
Every interaction is a chance to refine our communication skills.
Pay attention to your body language, your tone of voice, the way you structure your thoughts.
But even with all the prep and practice in the world, sometimes things just don't go according to plan.
Oh, I know.
Those technical difficulties,
Yep.
unexpected questions.
No, the curveballs.
Yeah, the curveballs that life throws at us.
I know, but you know what? Carnegie dedicates a whole section to handling those.
Hmm.
Yeah, he calls it the art of impromptu speaking. It's about learning to think on your feet.
Okay, that's a skill I think we could all benefit from, because those unexpected moments, they can be stressful.
They are. But the key is to not let them derail your whole presentation.
So stay calm.
Stay calm, breathe deeply. Remember, the audience is on your side. They want you to succeed.
That's easy to forget when you're the one in the spotlight.
I know.
But what about those times when you just don't know the answer to a question? Should you just admit defeat or try to bluff your way through it?
Carnegie always said honesty is the best policy.
Okay.
If you don't know the answer, don't be afraid to say so. But here's the key. Turn it into an opportunity.
Okay, how do you do that? Because saying I don't know can feel kind of anticlimactic.
You're right. It's all about how you say it. You could say something like, that's a great question, and I'm not entirely sure the answer off the top of my head.
Mm.
I'd love to do some research and get back to you. Or you could say something like, I'm not familiar with that specific study, but it sounds really intriguing. Would you mind sharing more about it?
So acknowledge the question,
Yes.
validate the person who asked it, and then find a way to move forward gracefully.
Exactly. Sometimes those unexpected questions can lead to the most interesting conversations.
That's true. So embrace those moments of spontaneity. See where they lead. As we wrap up this deep dive into Carnegie, it's important to remember that becoming a more confident speaker, it's a journey, not a destination.
It really is. It takes time, it takes practice, and it takes stepping outside of your comfort zone.
And one of the things Carnegie emphasized was the importance of practice.
Oh, absolutely. The more you practice, the more comfortable and confident you'll become.
But how do you practice public speaking? It's not like you can just gather an audience every time you want to work on your delivery.
Right. But that doesn't mean you can't practice.
Okay, so give me some tips.
One of the things he suggested was to practice in front of a mirror.
Oh yeah, in the mirror.
I know it sounds silly, but it's a great way to get comfortable with your body language,
Yeah, you see those little habits that you might not even be aware of.
Exactly. You can also record yourself speaking and listen back to it.
It's a humbling experience.
Oh, I know, but it's so valuable. Pay attention to your pacing, your tone, the clarity of your message.
And what about practicing with other people?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Find a friend, family member, colleague. Practice your presentation. Ask for their feedback.
Okay, so create those low-pressure opportunities to practice.
Exactly.
I love that.
And the more you practice, the more comfortable you become, and that confidence will shine through.
This has been such an insightful deep dive into Carnegie. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective, not just on public speaking, but on communication in general. So as we wrap things up, what would you say is the most important takeaway for our listeners?
I think it all goes back to that core message of authenticity and connection. Carnegie wasn't about tricks or gimmicks. He was about being genuine and sharing your message with confidence and enthusiasm. That's something we can all strive for, whether we're on a stage or just chatting with a friend.
Beautifully said. So for our listener who's maybe feeling inspired to, step up their speaking game, what would be that one small step they could take today?
A great starting point is to choose a topic you're really passionate about. Practice speaking about it for a few minutes, even if it's just to yourself in the mirror. Focus on connecting with your message, letting your enthusiasm shine through, and have fun.
Okay, so take that first step. It doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't.
In fact, embracing those imperfections can make you more relatable.
Absolutely.
I love that. As we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with this thought from Carnegie himself.
Oh, what's that?
Believe that you will succeed, and you will.
Powerful.
So powerful. It all starts with that belief in ourselves and our ability to connect through our words. I think that's a beautiful message to end on. It's about embracing the journey of becoming better communicators and knowing that we have the power to make a difference.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to sign off.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into Dale Carnegie's The Quick and Easy Way to Effective Speaking. We hope you enjoyed this exploration of powerful communication, and we hope you're feeling inspired to step up and share your voice with the world. Until next time.